Jamie, it's interesting. It's a fascinating story. I've been digging into it. But if you look at a $30 billion market cap, to raise just $500 million, I mean, don't you feel like they could have raised more?
Maybe they could. You know, it's really about the cash needs for the investment. The CFO had kind of indicated maybe they didn't need to. You know, if they executed perfectly, the billion and change that they have on the books might be enough, but having an extra $500 million in cushion without having to tap the credit line seems at least prudent, and so they're taking some money while they can. I thought it might have been $1 billion or $2 billion, but $500 million certainly is going to be helpful because they're investing. They've got to launch the Model X, this quarter, really ramp it up next quarter. They're trying to build this massive battery factory near Reno that they call the Gigafactory, and then they've got to develop a more mass market-like car, the Model 3, to try to compete with the 3 Series and try to really get some scale. There's huge investments coming ahead for this company. So an extra $500 million to get them through until the Model X starts generating some cash seems like a wise move.
Jamie, can we infer that investors aren't always happy when companies dilute them by selling new equity, but should investors feel reasonably good about the timing of this particular sale, or at least the announcement, because the bad news is out the door? I can imagine they would have been furious had Tesla tried to sell the stock north of 280 before that disappointing earnings report.
Maybe. I mean, obviously, it would have been better to get 280 a share than to get 230 or 240. But, the shares were up early this morning, and I think that shows, just like we were talking about, that there is a sense of that is a good move to give them a little extra cushion. Even though it's diluting the value of their shares, they think they're better off because there's less of a chance of a downside, less of a chance that they start running short on cash and have to go get money when it's really expensive.
People talk about range anxiety as the biggest problem the biggest challenge, not only to Tesla, but to electric cars in general. I think the biggest challenge...
And that means what? It's just...
That people are worried that they will run out of charge and not find any place to fill up. And one of the reasons is a lot of people think there aren't enough places to fill up. One of the things Tesla is doing, I'm sure with this investment, but also already, is putting in a lot more charging stations, for example, here in Manhattan.
Yeah, Tesla's been investing really heavily in their supercharger network, which are the really high-powered, fast chargers that they put along highways that they intend for people to use for long-distance road trips, so that you could actually drive a Model S or a Model X across the country, or take it to grandma's house in another time zone. They're now adding, according to the New York Times, they're adding these stations throughout Manhattan where you can pay to get a reasonably fast charge, not as fast as a supercharger, but faster than just plugging into a regular wall outlet. They also had these destination chargers at nice hotels and restaurants and Yosemite Park, where you can go and charge up, that are, again, sort of in between pace, but they're free because the company wants you to come visit them, charge up your Model S, stay for dinner.
Well, and they're going to need the money to expand in China. I mean, the Chinese haven't come up with a standardized charging system yet. Tesla said when they do, they're going to convert all their cars there. That's going to cost money. And China is a very big country, so they need to put more supercharger and destination charger stations there. That's one of the main concerns.
Yeah, less of a road trip culture probably than in the U.S. or even in Europe. But look, I mean, you're exactly right. Tesla has so many ambitions globally, so many challenges. This is the company of 20 impossible things, and they've done like 8, but they have 12 more to go. They've got to expand into Europe. They got to expand in China. They've got to build a supercharger network. They've got to get a retail network, that can legitimately compete with the likes of BMW and Mercedes without dealerships, while they're being fought, on these state legislatures. There is a lot there is a lot to do at Tesla, and an extra $500 million or an extra couple billion is going to help them.
All right. Jamie, thanks very much. Fascinating story. I love to talk about Tesla, obviously, and you're right. 20 impossible things. They've done 8. A lot of people have real issues with the company, but I just think it's amazing to see the products that they create.